Okay. Yeah.
That
Where are
is,
you at?
I just landed in Budapest.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
um doing 15 countries in 10 days, or maybe 10 countries in 14 days or something like that in the next. Yeah, it's going to be a juggernaut. I just did Bali to France to Croatia to Paris to here.
Wow.
Different city every day for the
What's it
next
for?
tour. I'm touring.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm a touring artist under LP Giobbi. I make electronic music and started Femme House.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's but my world is this year I've been home maybe 10, 12 days or something. I'm a DJ. I produce electronic music, but I tour it
Cool.
as a DJ. So the DJ lifestyle, touring lifestyle is pretty wild. Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's like ping
Very late
ponging you.
hours.
Yeah, very late hours playing to zombies, ping ponging you across the globe. It's pretty wild.
That fun.
It is really fun. I have to, I'm trying, whenever I talk to people about it, I'm always like, say all the negative stuff. And I feel like my body can hear that. And so I'm really working on, I mean, obviously, yes, there's negative stuff. And I need to take care of myself, but there are great things. And I'm trying to focus on those right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I haven't
Yeah.
toured in, I mean, I did a 2 week tour in the US, 2 week, need more coffee, 2 years ago, but I haven't toured like Europe or anything in like almost 6 years. It's so crazy. Used to be like around all the time, and since COVID.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
nuts. I gotta
Do
make a new
you,
record.
hell yeah. Do you feel better or like physically better or emotionally better or how has that change been for you?
I mean, I really miss it. I don't necessarily want to talk about this on the show, but I had a kid a couple years ago, so that's been the thing.
Okay, great. I don't want to talk about this on the show either, so let me ask you some questions.
Okay.
I oh gosh, I have so many thoughts. Okay. Did so having the kid, do you feel like that there's a correlation between having the kid and not touring as much? Obviously.
Oh, yeah, totally, totally. That, and I haven't put out a record since 2020.
Do you think it's
You know?
possible to tour with a kid?
Yeah, I have
You
so
do?
many friends that do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because like I'm wanting a kid and I just don't understand how that works.
I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I can imagine that either between my dude, his mom, or like one of my friends, and if all of that is like not happening, like, I don't know, care.com or something, I feel like there's a way. But also, I'm never touring. I can't imagine touring more than I've never toured much more than like 3 weeks at a time. Not that I want to be away from my kid for 3 weeks.
See, I mean I'm in like the go time of my career. It just like in the pandemic is when I finally gained traction and it's so I sort of feel like I know I'm not going to do this forever, so just like trying to do what I can, save up money so I'm going to be okay in the future, but I mean I left in June. I come back in September for 4 days, and then I go on a bus tour in the U.S. until December. And I, and I just don't understand. I like like the DJ touring is such a different beast,
Yeah.
And I purposely set up this bus tour to go into venues because I want to be done by 11 and sleeping in the tour bus by midnight and try to have a healthier schedule and but most for DJs once we play in clubs and in Ibiza until 6 a.m. and then Barcelona the next day until 7 a.m.
Wild.
And so I just don't yeah I don't have any role models yet of how that has happened for
Yeah, I haven't made it happen. I'm determined to because I am making a record. Like, it's funny. My boy has been in daycare for 2 months, but 2 days a week. And, half the time my sister was in town, or it was July 4th and the family got together, so it's been like very little. But starting week after next, he's going 4 days. And I just got my piano tuned. We can talk about this later. And I got my like childhood clarinet fixed. And, I want to put out a record next year.
Can I
And
ask you? Fuck yes. Can I ask you a really personal question?
sure.
You can also say, don't feel comfortable answering that. Totally safe space to do that.
Hmm.
I guess I had this like really deep fear that I'm gonna have a kid and then either not want to make music anymore because it's gonna be that's my focus, or I'm gonna be regretful of having a kid because I can't make music.
You can have both. You can have both. I mean, people do it all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, like my idols, like, Bjork or whatever, have done it. Tom York has done it, and then like friends of mine, like Sharon Van Etten or whatever, like she plays
Sick.
a
She's
lot
a
of freaking shows,
yeah. She has a kid.
Yeah, he's like 7 or 8. He looks just like her. And just like me too. It's funny. Yeah.
Amazing.
It can be done.
Oh,
And I mean, if music is like in your heart and what you do, you're not gonna like just. I mean, I guess it might happen to some people. They have like postpartum or something, but like,
like I was just with my brother has two little kids, 2 year old and a 7 year old, and I was staying with them to hang out with my nieces, and I was just watching the dude. It is. I knew it was a lot of work, but it was so much work, and um, it was full on all the time. Like my brother even said to me, actually, for when the weekend comes around, I can't wait for the weekdays when they go back to daycare. Like the hardest part of his week is the weekend, and I just like I freaked out.
don't listen to that. I mean, it is full on. It is. It's like, when they're with you, they want you. It's not necessarily about do this with me, do that with me. It's like they want you. Um, but it can be done. It can be done. I mean, like all throughout, he'll be 2 in November, and I've played shows and I've like done little recording things, like recorded on this song or made music for this podcast or whatever. So I also have like elder support. So I'm very lucky in that way. Like
Yeah,
my boyfriend's parents are here in LA.
that's
They
incredible.
help out a lot. I mean,
Ugh.
Joel's mom has for maybe like a year come over once a week and she'll stay the night and leave the next day.
Oh my god, wow. That's
I know.
that's so fucking special. So you can like
Yeah.
sleep. Wow.
Yeah,
That
so we
is
so we can go out and not have to pay like $150 to a babysitter on top of dinner or whatever.
Jesus. $150? What? The kids are sleeping most of the time.
Everyone charges $25 an hour.
No.
Pretty wild.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for yeah, I'm working through it with my therapist right now, but it's I'm definitely getting, if not like, approaching past that age, and I'm having a
I
lot of
had I
things.
had my dude at 43. You have fun.
Ah, this is so awesome to hear. I'm 36. I'm starting to freak the
Oh my
fuck out.
gosh. Yeah, you are fine. You're totally fine.
That is incredible to hear. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, now
Yeah, it's all good. And
I
like even
I
with
appreciate you sharing that.
people that like, you always hear like, how am I gonna have a kid? How am I gonna know what to do? And you just figure it out, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I know that that is to be true, and I'm so deeply close to my parents, and I know this is something that I want. I just, like, my mom will be like, "Well, Beyonce has kids." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, Beyonce has kids. It's not the exact same
I
for me,
know.
And I
Little
just don't
different.
see the blueprint yet, but maybe we make it. Um, okay, so to your music,
Yeah.
um, I'm going to ask you like a few questions, and then I'm going to read a little blurb about you, and then
Okay.
ask you four questions from there. And the blurb on is the part that lives on the radio show, and so that part's short. It's 5 minutes,
Okay.
and then the rest will be on our Femme House socials and things like that.
Okay.
But I read that you made an EP in part. I hope I get this right. In partnership with Microsoft AI.
Hmm.
Tell me about that.
Um, I think it was like in mid 2018. I was approached by Microsoft AI to create a lobby score um, for a new Ace Hotel in New York City.
Cool.
Um, so I was like, yes, definitely. I mean, I'd only lived in LA for like a year and a half, so I was looking for any projects to kind of take me back to New York, and there were a lot at the beginning, but I lived in New York for about 16 years. So I was like, yes, definitely, let's do that. And it sounded fun. I had to learn Ableton on a Surface, which is a
Whoa.
Microsoft laptop. So that in itself was a challenge. But did it and worked with a music technologist, and she built the system that kind of it was this generative musical system that was triggered by these cameras that they put on top of the hotel that pointed sorry, pointed downtown and around and would pick up you know, clouds. It would recognize clouds and birds and bright sun and nighttime and all these kind of events. So the cameras would pick that up, and with the AI, it would recognize them, and then it would trigger sounds that I had made. Um, and then the
For
music,
each of those moments.
yes. And so it went into the musical program that she made, and so it was like evergreen. Every day it was something new. So I made kind of like underlying tracks for each part of the day. It was like morning, noon, afternoon, evening, night. So there was these kinds of like beds of music happening in the lobby during 24/7. And then the events that the AI was recognizing filtered through, and I had made sounds for each of those events.
So like
So,
the clouds or a bird, you had like made sounds that would match those things.
yes, yes. And so that was going into the
That
lobbies.
would also fit with your bed of music.
Yes, in the same key and
Same key.
everything. So, for instance, in Ableton, I made, just these kind of cyclical tracks that would play. But then, there were several tracks that was like airplane. And I made like little tiny sounds and
Oh my
birds.
god, this is so sick.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was an
So
incredible.
airplane, like, would you make it literal? If there's an airplane, would you make it to sound like an airplane or
No,
interpret?
no.
Okay.
Mm-mm. No, it was like a little ding or something like that. But because the AI was working 24/7 through the cameras, it's different every day. What's happening out in the sky
Of
is
course.
different every day. So the beds would kind of stay the same, but all these little, I'd listen and there'd be like a little, you know, and the musical program that the music technologist made was also kind of like adding reverb and stuff to the event sounds. So yeah, it was
And
just
rhythmically, how would they? So would they sync in BPM, or did? But
no.
they didn't need to because they were sort of textural.
Yeah, yeah. And they weren't like, or like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
super crazy. It was just like little twinkles almost. Um,
Wait, this is incredible. Holy, is there the for the bed of the music? Is that out somewhere in the world that I can
yeah,
listen to?
yeah. Um,
Where is it?
I kind of a good friend of mine, Matt Worth at Revenge. Um, he had a little store slash label called Commend on Christie Street in New York City, and it was right around the corner from Sister City. Um, so I asked him if he would be into releasing like a little EP of the music, and that was I ended up calling that Circumstance Synthesis. And so that's got the morning, noon, afternoon, evening, night. Yeah.
Writing that down. Oh,
And I
okay.
just kind of like played the event sounds throughout the songs, which
That
is,
is so fucking cool.
I know, it's really
Wow, that
cool.
is a really, really cool project. So in Ableton, when you said it was your first time working, why did you have to work in Ableton? Was that tied into the technical aspect of utilizing the AI?
It was what the music technologist was using, Louisa, the one that was making that musical program,
Okay. Yeah.
that I couldn't make, but she was,
Yeah.
she was working with Microsoft and everything to translate the events and trigger my music. So she was the one doing that. She's amazing.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is.
So and she's in New York and I'm in LA, so in order for us to kind of like swap,
Yeah. Yeah.
send her a project and we would go back and forth. So it needed to be in the same
Yeah.
DAW.
And
Yeah.
do you use prehistorically? Do you use other DAWs to make music, or are you more a musician? Other people are recording you when for your music.
I mean, besides Nepenthe, which I made in Iceland with Alex Summers
Hmm.
in 2012, um, everything you've ever heard pretty much is in GarageBand.
No way!
Every single
That
thing.
is that is so awesome. That is. I mean, they're all the same. You just whatever one you're most comfortable with, that's what you should use. A lot of collaborators I work with are in Ableton, so because I make electronic music, so that's just. But I think
Yeah.
that they're all equal. That's so awesome. GarageBand. Did you
Yeah.
switch over to Ableton afterwards, or did you stick with GarageBand?
No, I just stuck with GarageBand.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
in like literally probably 2006 or 7, um, I got my RC50, which is the loop station, and I got a computer and it had GarageBand on it. And so I just went to the Apple store in Soho and went to the GarageBand, whatever workshop to learn how to do it because it was free.
That is so tight.
And just never looked back. I mean, even with this new record that I'm gonna make, I thought maybe I should like level up and do Logic like so and so does and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't
It's
know.
not about the DAW. It's about the music. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, even with like the interface, like my interface is way basic, and I'm just kind of
Which
like,
is a gift. Oh my gosh, it's a gift. I wish that they would. It's like having too many plugins. There's too many options. Strip it back. I think that's great.
yeah. So yeah, GarageBand. I should have a sponsorship at this point.
Oh. Yeah. No shit. Okay, well, you're frozen for a minute, but you're back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read your little blurb.
Okay.
Ask you some easy questions.
Okay.
You are listening to Femme House Radio with your host, LP Giobbi, and this week we have Los Angeles-based producer Julianna Barwick, who makes deep, reflective compositions rooted in the human voice, represented in her 6 critically acclaimed records. She has worked with everyone from members of Sigur Rós to No Such Thing and earned Pitchfork's coveted Best New Music. Very impressive. In September, she will be opening up for Perfume Genius's Sold Out tour. Congrats and welcome to Femme House Radio, Julianna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Tell us your origin story into production. How did you become a producer and film scorer?
Well, I always, like, even as a kid, was just kind of like making up songs, singing and finding places that were very reverberant. And, that was my thing. And did lots of music in school with choirs and clarinet and stuff like that. But I always had my piano. I had a piano since, I was born in the house. So I'd always teach myself things on the piano. But I guess it kind of really started rolling, when I was like 25 or so in New York. And I had a little Fostex 4-track, just cassette, 4-track. I got a guitar with my grant money from college and was like playing around with that. Someone gave me a delay pedal, and so someone gave me an amp, or I bought an amp, I don't know, and I was like messing around with that, like kind of trying to be cat power and like figuring out pretty quick that it was like never gonna work, never gonna happen. But then one of my best friends, I was at his house and he just showed me this little digi-delay pedal. And he was like, check this out, Jules. And he sang something and then started looping it. And I was just like, can I borrow that? 'Cause that looks like a lot of fun. And just kind of went crazy, like making just stuff off the top of my head, just tons and tons of pieces with the Fostex 4-track. And, in 2006 was like, this would be fun. I put it on MySpace and then thought this would be fun to put on a CD, and figured out how to do all of that.
Wow.
So that was like on cassette tape.
Wow.
And then, so that first record was Sanguine. And then for Florine, I made that in GarageBand. So, yeah, went
Awesome.
to the Apple Store in Soho and took a
Amazing.
workshop and learned how to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into film scoring? And this is maybe a silly question, but when you are scoring a film, do you read the film first, or how does that work? Do you know what's going to happen in the film, or?
Yeah, I've only done shorts so far. It's a total dream of mine to score a feature. I haven't done that yet. I really want to.
Cool. Manifest.
But so far I've done a few shorts, and it's mostly been just working really closely with the director. Like with my own music, I want like free reign. You don't really want too much input either way. But when I'm scoring someone's project, like I respond really well to just very specific direction. So, most of the time it's phone conversations, or I'm sitting right next to them, and we're going, here, it would be really great if there was like this, lilt and, or whatever. And then I come up with some stuff and I send it to them, and it's just a conversation.
Do you feel like you need to understand the full script first, or is it just more by scene, making that scene come to life via music?
I feel like with everyone, I've seen the whole thing and then, worked in bits.
I think that's awesome. Man, I one day really want to do that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
How did you and Perfume Genius link up?
Well, I have loved Mike's music for a very long time. Actually, when I was recording with
Ugh, same.
Alex, yeah, it's crazy. Um, when I was recording with Alex Summers in Iceland in 2012, like Mike just kept coming up for me, and I was like, maybe he should be on this record. And it didn't end up happening. And then, Too Bright came out, and that's when I was living in New York, and went to the show in Kingston when they were opening for Jenny Vol. And just was like very determined to meet Mike and Alan and tell them how much I love them already.
Awesome.
And it was kind of a mutual admiration society because Mike told me that the Magic Place was his ringtone for a very long time. And we've just been very good
So cool.
friends ever since. Like, I mean, the music is ridiculous,
Yeah.
but also, like, no one is funnier than Mike.
Really?
Straight up. No one is funnier than Mike.
Well, to be
And
that emotional and funny, what a
yeah,
beautiful pairing.
yeah, and like Mike and Ellen, they both just bring out my funny that doesn't always, happen with everyone. So we just crack each other up. And I did a little UK run with them in 2017. And I showed up, and Mike and I had the same shoes on, like patent leather, very pointy witch shoes. So we just have a lot in common, and we really get along. And the way that this tour happened was, the shows sold out right away. And
Wow.
I texted Alan and I said, no, I hate to be this person, but I am gonna need to see one of those LA shows. And he said, we were actually gonna ask you if you wanted to open. So I was very excited because I thought, oh, cool, they want me to open in LA. That's so cool, me. And then our booking agents started talking, and the whole tour was in an email. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was very
That
excited.
is so huge. Congrats. I really hope I can see one of those shows. I think that is so special. Yeah, I'm
The
at the
album
hood.
is crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to dive into that. I remember I heard the hood. Is it hood or the hood? When I
Hmm.
was going through a breakup and it changed. I
Oh,
mean, it was life changing. It was
yeah.
that was my song. Final
Yeah.
question for you. Tell us about your new record coming out on Ninja Tune.
Yes. Well, the last one that came out, my first record with them, Healing is a Miracle, came out mid 2020, and we all know what was happening then.
Yep.
So yeah, it's, just been getting everything together, and recently I had my piano tuned, and
Yes.
you know, I'm getting ready to start recording another record. I'm very excited. I have
That's
no plan, I have no idea.
heck yeah.
For since I made Healing, which was like almost 5 years ago now, I've sang on some songs or made music for a podcast or whatever, but I haven't just done my thing and like sat down and see what happens. So I'm really really excited to do that. So that's gonna be
Well,
soon. And
your
then,
energy is wildly grounding. I'm talking to you through a computer, but it just seems like so tapped in and roots down there. Something's ready to come up. It's really actually it's calming my central nervous system to talk to you.
oh,
So
good.
thank you.
Good.
I'm also signed to Ninja. My album comes out with them in October, and I think that they're wonderful. So happy
Yeah,
that we are in the same
cool.
family. Yeah, yeah.
We are
Awesome.
label friends.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Femme House Radio. We're all huge fans, and I am a huge fan of what you do. I think your music is so special and honest and real. So, thank you for putting that out in the world.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Oh, this is a nice way to start the day. Uh oh.